Box office top 10 this week. At number 14, Memoir of a Snail. Epi Gibbons says, I was thrilled to see a preview screening of this back in January and met Adam Elliott, who was very friendly and delivered a fab Q&A session after the showing. A brilliant follow-up to Mary and Max, if not perhaps quite hitting that very high bar, but still very much worth seeing. Memoir of a Snail, just outside the mighty top 10 at 14.
Yeah, I loved it. I thought it was really, really moving. And somebody sent me something on Blue Sky, which was a snapshot from one of the major cinema chains that was showing Memoir of a Snail, and the description of what kind of film it was family. And they'd said, "You haven't heard Mark's review, have you?" Because it's not a family film. It's definitely an animation for grown-ups.
Number 10 is September 5.
Yeah, which I think you and I are both very impressed by and thought it was very gripping.
The Brutalist is at number 9.
Featuring the director of September Says.
That's at number 17 in America. Number 8 in the UK, 10 in America is Chava.
So
I got that right, I think.
Yeah, I think so. So I haven't seen this because it wasn't press screened. It is the highest grossing Hindi film of 2025 so far. It is an epic historical action film. It has a score by A.R. Rahman, so it sounds pretty impressive. If anyone's seen it, let us know. I will try and see if I can see it because next week's screening schedule isn't quite as nuts. So I'll try and see if I can find it at a local cinema and go and see it.
Sonic the Hedgehog 3 is at number 7.
8th week in the top 10. 8th week in the top 10 for Sonic the Hedgehog 3. I mean, okay.
Is it the 8th week for Sonic the Hedgehog?
It is the 8th week for Sonic the Hedgehog, yeah.
Number 6 is A Complete Unknown.
We were talking on the BAFTA podcast that one of the things that David Tennant said in his speech at the beginning of the BAFTAs was, one of the great things about this industry is that it's so welcoming and inclusive for new talent. For example, a lot of awards could go tonight to a complete unknown. And it was like, yeah, well, they didn't. And also,
number 5 is here and in America, actually, is Mufasa the Lion King. I think it seems like an age ago. I can't even speak, as you know. It seems like a long time ago that Barry Jenkins was on talking about the Lion King, and there it is, still in the top 5.
Well, that's 9 weeks in the chart, Simon. So that's how long that's been there.
Hard Ties is at number 4 in the UK and in America. Paul on this email, a surprisingly entertaining caper,
yes,
balancing humour and horror. Is this the first of a new genre, a rom-com horror? What would this genre be called? No. A laughter slasher? A murder meet cute? A horror rom-com? Anyway, Mason Gooding's casting made me wonder, is he now a scream king in the same limiting way female actors are labelled scream queens after multiple horror roles? Anyway, best wishes from Paul. Anyway, I don't think it's a new genre.
No,
really.
It's not. I mean, if you remember when Shaun of the Dead came out, there was the whole thing about, it's a new genre. It's a rom-zom-com, okay? And those of us that were horror fans, I mean, I love Shaun of the Dead. But those of us that were horror fans went, no. Return of the Living Dead Part 3 was actually sold as a rom-zom-com. That was a thing. So that genre is as old as the hills. I really enjoyed Heart Eyes. I thought it was really funny, and its gory bits were nicely gory, but what did I call it? Because I was trying to say horror rom-com, but I end up saying a romedy. Oh, anyway, fine. But yes, but it is
rom-comma.
A rom-com, a rom-com, but I really enjoyed it. I thought it was great fun. It was a good Valentine's Day release.
Dog Man is at number 3.
Well, I enjoyed it so much more than I thought I was going to. As I've been quite clear about this, I was sent to see it by the redactor who said that his kids were very, very keen on seeing it. Therefore, it was a 3-line whip, and I really enjoyed it. I thought it was mad, with the exception, as we have discussed, of the voiceover of Ricky Gervais, which I just thought wasn't a good bit of casting. And we had a very, very good email last week from somebody who really understood animation casting and was talking about how you can quite often get seduced by celebrity casting when it's not necessarily the best voice for a character.
Number 2 is a new entry, Captain America Brave New World, which Mark will review in just a moment because it came out too late, basically, for inclusion last week. Fletch says, since this was essentially a sequel to The Incredible Hulk, it should have featured Bruce Banner. Hulk versus Air Force One Hulk also needed more get off my plane. Damien Fenton, I enjoyed some of the action on a superficial level, but the writing was very messy and muddled. Harrison Ford carried most of the movie for me. He didn't treat it as just another paycheck and actually put the effort in. Ken Lauder says, for a character with more physical vulnerability than the original Cap, I was surprised nothing in the film conveyed any real sense of threat. Any conflict was met with cheap, quick resolution. Any drama was overly cushioned. Post-credits was hilariously vague to be this far in. Thin gruel is Ken's summary of Captain America, Brave New World.
Actually, weirdly enough, watching a film in which Captain America and America, all that stuff is talked about, is with a somewhat heavy heart, despite the fact that one of the sort of key plots is that Harrison Ford is this incredibly compromised president who is trying to prove that he's not actually the evil, wicked fiend that everybody thought he was, and yet. And I'm assuming that now we're into the second week, people, I mean, there were things in it that I didn't know about, but, and just to be clear, the reason we didn't review it last week was they didn't press screen it until after we had recorded the show, which is never really a good sign. It usually means that they don't think it's going to benefit from critical responses. So there is this weird subplot in it, which Harrison Ford is this very compromised president. And I was thinking, oh, okay, well, maybe I'll find something interesting in here, but no, not at all. I think that the emailer who said that there's no jeopardy, that's exactly, I mean, I just felt, okay, I'm watching a film about a bunch of characters. I don't really remember the backstory of them, and I don't really care. And there are some great cast members, and there's a sort of political story going on, and all these things that I should be interested in, but I just don't care because it's just fly, crashy, get hit by a rocket and a missile. There's a bit when they're trying to avert a military standoff between two nations around the sacred island, the whatever you call it, the island that's the thing, the hand sticking out of the water, and it's the two flyy things having to stop the jet fighters from shooting down and it's just watching it going, but they're all indestructible. They're all indestructible. It doesn't make any difference. No, there is no consequences to any of this at all. So I don't know that it's the worst of these films. There are some ideas in it, and Harrison Ford is trying to do something with that character, but I just found it absolutely impossible to get interested in it. And the writing is at very, very best functional. And at very worst, there's one gag in it which is good. There is one gag in it which is good, in which somebody delivers a little speech to another character to make them do something. And then there's a pause, and the character goes, "Did your speechwriter write that?" And he goes, "Yeah, he wrote the end." It was quite funny. And that was the one gag that I enjoyed. And then there's a thing at the end that makes you go, "Oh, really?" Oh, I just
wanted to float the prospect that the whole idea of a film which has got Captain America in it is now completely flawed, because if you think in some vague way that America stands for the good things in life, then the arrival of Captain America is a good thing. But if you think that America stands for bullying, corruption, authoritarianism, anti-science, anti-democratic stuff, then you go, no, actually, Captain America can stay at home. We're not interested. Thank you.
Yeah, but the thing is, the problem that with that, Simon, is that you're one of those people who believed, until I did yesterday when I heard differently, that Russia started the war in Ukraine, but apparently not. Apparently, Ukraine started it.
Thank you for explaining that to
me. I know. It came as a revelation to me.
I've got the woke mind virus.
You have.
Anyway,
you have.
So that's Captain America at number 2. Yeah. May it bomb. Number 1, Bridget Jones, Mad About the Boy. SP Bub on YouTube. Really enjoyed it. If you're a fan, you'll get it and love it. Hugh Grant is fantastic. You'd have to be dead inside not to laugh, smile, and enjoy every second he's on screen. Miss X says, just back from the pictures. It's fantastic. So on the one hand, it's signed Miss X, and on the other hand, she's back for the pictures. Very nostalgic, to be honest. Cried my eyes out, laughed a lot. When the first film came out, I was in my 20s and single. When the second came out, I was traveling the world. When the third came out, I was pregnant. I'm now almost 50 and can relate to all of it. A film about life, really. And Mr. Keith says, Mark's review persuaded me to go with my wife on the understanding that, all things considered, it wasn't too bad. It is abysmal. And nearly to quote Friends, Bridget is not believable as a human being. Credit in the bank at home, though, so not all bad. So anyway, it's a big hit, but mixed review. Mr. Keith disagreeing with your take on Bridget Jones, Mad About the Boy.
Well, okay. I mean, you have every right to think that. It's just you happen in this case to be completely wrong. I mean, I went in with fairly low expectations because I didn't think we needed another. And it made me laugh. It made me cry. And I've spoken to so many people who said exactly the same thing. They all appear to be on the same page that it's messy and scrappy, and there are whole sections of it that shouldn't be there and don't work. But it doesn't matter because it actually does work, and you do end up caring about them, and you do end up. Well, not you, obviously. I did. And I really, have you seen it yet, Simon?
No, I haven't. But a doff of the cap to Abby Morgan, screenwriter extraordinaire, who is responsible. So number one, Bridget Jones, Mad About the Boy.